CrowdSourcery is part of the Eastern Promise family, in proud association with Mills and Reeve, achieving more together. Welcome, traveller. Come, join me by the fire. 'Tis no night to be journeying alone, my friend. Drink? There. That will warm you inside as the fire warms without. This book? No, just stories, tall tales from across this land, collected from... Excuse me one moment. Collected from friends, visitors, adventurers all. I don't suppose you'd like to hear some of the stories, eh? Oh, very well. This first tall tale was given to me by Tom Wood and Chris Spalton, himself a collector of many tales and legends. It is entitled The Ludham Wyrm. The village of Ludham lies in North Norfolk, part of the Norfolk and Suffolk Broads, yes. Home to artists, actors and authors, Ludham is quaint enough. No hint of the terror lurking beneath her streets. No. Yet, in 1782, this quiet, archetypal Norfolk village was assailed by an otherworldly terror. What began as the discovery of a mysterious hole in the village street led to the discovery of a network of underground tunnels, and in its center, the lair of the giant and terrifying Ludham Wyrm. Each night, despite the villagers' every attempt to seal the beast in its dank, putrid hole, the worm would break free and torment villagers, ravaging livestock and destroying property.
No, not Barbara!
As the village crumbled under this assault, the creature began to strike during daylight hours. One day, as the worm paused to bask in the noonday sun, one brave hero, their name lost to history, sealed the beast's empty lair, trapping it on the surface. Flying into a rage, it shattered bone and building. Before slithering away, never to be seen again. And to this day, none do know how this tale began, from whence the beast came, or why the hole opened up outside the village pub. I think we may have solved the mystery. Moving on. Another? Very well. Our next terrible tale of the awful, or possibly awful tale of the terrible, comes from learned scientist and seeker after the truth, the East of England's answer to Professor Quatermass, Dr. Tammy Dugan, leader, superconnector, and life sciences and healthcare partnerships lead for the University of Cambridge. As war ravaged Europe in the 1940s, air crews from across the east of England would gather in the Eagle pub in the heart of the ancient city of Cambridge. Pilots, navigators, bombardiers would regularly write messages on the ceiling of the pub to ensure their names lived on should they fall in battle. One such airman went to much greater lengths to ensure his longevity, and now regularly haunts the Eagle. Yeah, particularly if you sit at table 0, make too much noise, or order a pint of Spitfire. Oftentimes, a lone drinker has headed to the bathroom, leaving a card by way of warning of the consequences of stealing their pint. The card says, "I've spat in this beer." On their return, they see the ghostly airman has added words of his own. Many a trembling hand has grasped the card, meant to preserve their precious pint for their sole enjoyment, only to see that under the words, "I've spat in this beer," is now written in ghostly hand, "So have I." Time, gentlemen, please. Thank you, Tammy. Herself something of a ghost hunter. She admits she regularly lingers by the ghost tours to learn all she can to aid her in the arcane arts of phantasms and the undead. Or, as she puts it, she has a sneaky listen. Our next tale of dread and damnation comes from Gareth John, deliverer of accountancy and finance skills to those steeped in the law, and is entitled A Close Shave. The man frequently visiting clients and customers, Mr. John is rightly proud of his appearance. However, excessive pride is one of the most deadly sins, and the spectres of the shower curtain, the spirit beings of the bathtub, and the phantasms of the floss had a terrible warning for our mage of Sage, Spreadsheet Supremo, and Excelsior of Excel, Gareth John. One morning, Gareth was undertaking his morning ablutions, psyching himself up for the day ahead with many a mental management mantra and accountancy incantation, when he reached across to the shower tray for the soap. But something was wrong. Gareth saw, but he did not believe. For sitting there in the tray was his razor, the razor he uses to keep his face smooth and his appearance chiseled. Why should it shock himself? But know this, my friend, Gareth John never, ever takes his razor into the shower. His mind reeled. How? Why? And most of all, what had it shaved? the worst a man can get. Ah, another story. Very well. This next tale is a warning to the unwary of the dangers lurking in the wild places of the world, especially here in the east of England. It is called The Fen Tiger Strikes! This dread tiding comes from Tarquin Bennett Coles, Director Life Science Practice at Compass Carter Osborne, Advisor for Little Bean Journey, Pro Bono Mentor, and Careers Advisor for the Homerton Changemakers, and the Cambridge Judge Business School. Was that strictly necessary? Ramblers, photographers, and wildlife experts have all hunted, and in their turn been hunted, by the elusive Fen Tiger. Killjoys and those lacking imagination dismiss the Fen Tiger as a savanna cat, a wild serval crossed with a domestic cat. However, Tarquin knows the truth and warns those travelling the fens not to do so alone, as the true Fen Tiger still roams the plains in search of a tasty Halloween treat. So make haste, traveller. For our final tale, oh, most amusing, very droll. Michelle Chambers, Business Development Manager at Cannon Clark Architects, send us a tale of the devout friar doomed to linger on the mortal plane long after his death. Clearly, the Lord wasn't all that keen to have his company. And we return to where we began, the Norfolk village of Ludham, near Horning, which thankfully means I don't have to keep saying the Horning monk, which was bound to end in tears and a letter from Ofcom. Our tale begins as Mrs. Chambers and husband went for a 6-kilometre walk on Saturday morning that took them around St. Benet's Abbey in Ludham. As they got closer to the Abbey, Michelle Chambers kept feeling a light touch on her wrist over and over. Could have been cobwebs, or maybe one of the ghostly monks still lingering in the ruins. Ghost monks. Oh, brother. I bet you didn't see that coming. Talk about out of the frying pan and into the fryer. What? And that, my friend, is the end of our stories. Thank you for listening, and join us once again from some truly diabolical crowdsourcery.
CrowdSourcery is part of the Eastern Promise family and a Priors Croft production in proud association with Mills and Reeve, achieving more together.